In this movie, we will see how a maid seduced the 15-year-old son of her apartment owner, and she also gets intimate with him. And what happens next, you will know the rest in this video. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care, and I hope you enjoy it. At the beginning of the movie, we see two friends named Philly and Sherman. They were just 15 years old. They were spying on their senior's party. Sherman's sister, Joyce, was also at the party. Then her boyfriend pushed her in the pool, and she went to the bathroom to change her clothes. Philly and Sherman watched her changing her clothes. But then their teacher caught them, and she said to Philly that it is normal for a boy of his age to get attracted to these certain things. She advised them to be friends with girls of their age. But Philly was more interested in seniors. Philly's father is a rich businessman, and that's why they have so many servants in their house. One day, Philly noticed that his father had hired a new housemaid. Her name was Miss Mallow. Miss Mallow was so beautiful. The next day, Philly's father went out of town for a business trip and asked his driver, Lester, to take care of Philly. Let me tell you one thing, Lester does not like Philly at all. Then Mallow came to Philly and started talking to him. Mallow asked Philly, "What do housekeepers do at night for fun?" Then Philly said, "Except for you, all the other maids are too old." Mallow said, "Maybe you don't like to talk to the other maids, but you like to talk to me." Then Philly started looking at Mallow's feet and through her pants. Mallow noticed it, and she also started teasing him. Philly got a little uncomfortable and left. And then Mallow went out with Lester for some work. As soon as Mallow left, Philly went to her room and kept looking at her dress and undergarments. Then we found out that Lester and Mallow were planning something. Lester wants Mallow to get intimate with Philly before his father comes back. But Mallow didn't like this idea. But Lester was blackmailing her with something and forced her to do this. That night, Philly with his friend Sherman went outside Mallow's room to watch her changing clothes. But Mallow saw them and turned the lights off, and that's why they couldn't see anything. This kept going on for some days, and Philly was always walking around Mallow. Slowly, he gets too attracted to Mallow. The next morning, when Philly was spying outside Mallow's room, she caught him and asked him to get inside. Mallow told him, "If you want to see me changing my clothes, why didn't you tell me earlier?" Then she told him to close the door. And then, Mallow takes off all of her clothes one by one in front of Philly, and she became fully naked. Philly got so excited after seeing this. And then Mallow said he can touch her breast. After hearing this, Philly got so nervous and panicked so much. Then Philly left her room. The next day, Mallow told Philly that she will come tonight to meet him. Philly agreed with her. Then Philly told all of this to his friend Sherman, and they started practicing tennis. That night, when Philly went to meet Mallow, he saw that Mallow was having a shower in the bathtub. Then Mallow asked him to get into the bathtub. At first, Philly said no, but then Mallow convinced him with her sweet tone. Then Philly got into the bath wearing his shorts only. Mallow tried to seduce him and kissed him too, and then Mallow touched his private part, but Philly started panicking again and left with excuses. Before he left, Mallow stopped him and kissed his lips and invited him to sleep with her. The next day, Philly told all of this to his friend Sherman, but Sherman said she might be a prostitute, and that's why she's trying to get intimate with you this easily. But Philly didn't like this, because he started to like her, and he fell in love with her. That night, Philly took Mallow on a movie date, and inside the theater, Mallow tried to seduce him. While getting back home, they kissed each other the whole time. Lester was watching all of this. After getting back home, they both started to get ready to be intimate. But before that, Philly said he loves her, and he wants to marry her as well. Mallow said, "No, we can't get married because we have a very large gap in our age." But Philly got so sad after hearing this, and he thought that Mallow does not love him at all, and then he left her room. When Philly told this to his friend Sherman, he said, "Why did you talk about marriage before getting intimate with her?" Now, Philly could not stay away from Mallow for long. The next day, he asked her for a date, and Mallow agreed with him. That night, they went to a restaurant and flirted with each other. After having dinner, they got back home, and then they had sex with each other. While having sex, something happened to Mallow. She screamed and got so silent after that. Philly tried so much to wake her up, but she didn't wake up. Philly was horribly afraid to see this, and thought that Mallow had died, because once Lester told him that Mallow has heart disease. Philly got so scared and went to Lester for help. When Philly was going to Lester, we saw that Mallow was acting dead. and she was still alive. Lester came there and checked her body. Then Lester said Mallow had died, and you killed her because there was no one in this room except for you two. Then Lester was about to call the police, but then Philly stopped him and said he is ready to do anything if he doesn't call the police. Lester said, we need to get rid of Mallow's body. They put her body in a bag and then put the bag in a freezer so that her body does not rot. And then they went to the garden and started digging a grave. After digging the grave, they took her body from the freezer. The body got so heavy this time. Lester said it happened because of the freezer. But actually, Mallow was not in the bag because while they were digging the grave, Mallow got out of the bag. Then they buried her body in the garden. The next day, Philly saw that someone had dug the grave of Mallow and Mallow's body was not there. Philly got so tense after seeing this and told it to Lester, but Lester said he doesn't know anything about it. Then he found a note. In that note, it was written that someone had taken out the body of Mallow and he wants the body back. Then Philly will have to give them $10,000 or else they will give the body to the police. Lester said, maybe last night someone saw us burying her body and we should give him the money. Actually, Lester sent this to Philly. Philly took out $10,000 from his father's locker and put that money where the blackmailer told him to put it. Now, Lester took that money and went to his home. Mallow was waiting for him in his house. Then we found out that the real name of Mallow was Nicole, and Mallow was listening to Lester because she was not from this country. She came to this country in an illegal way. Lester knew it. Then Mallow told him, we should not use Philly like this. But Lester threatened her and said, if you don't listen to me, then I will tell everything to the police. That she is an illegal immigrant and criminal as well, because getting into a relationship with a 15-year-old is a crime. Then Lester told her to get back to her old hotel and hide there. But now, Mallow was also in love with Philly. That's why she went straight to Philly. At first, Philly got scared to see her alive, but then Mallow told him everything, that she did all of this because of Lester, and now she is on Philly's side. After understanding everything, Philly told her we need to get back the money from Lester, but Mallow didn't know where he put the money. And then Philly and Mallow made a plan to get the money back from Lester. Mallow convinced Philly's tennis coach to dress as a police officer and go to Lester's house. And then Jack agreed with her. He dressed as a policeman and went to Lester's house. Then he asked him about Mallow. Where did she disappear suddenly? Then he found out that Lester killed her. He found some clothes in his house. Mallow put those clothes there. Lester got so panicked after seeing this and told him that Mallow is still alive and she's in the hotel. Then Jack told him, if you can't get her back here alive in under 2 hours, then I will arrest you for her murder. And then Lester went to that hotel where he told her to hide herself. But he found out that Mallow was not there, and now Lester had nothing to do. Then he made a plan to run away from this country with his money. He started driving to the airport. Philly also wanted this, and it was a part of their plan. And then Philly and Mallow followed his car with Sherman's car and went to the airport. Lester went to the airport, but then he met with Philly's father. He just came back today, and Lester had forgotten about it. Then Philly also came there with Jack and Mallow, and that's why Lester was unable to run away. Then Philly took away the bag of money from his hand. Philly didn't tell anything about Lester to his father, and in exchange, Lester kept it as a secret that Mallow was staying here illegally, and she has an affair with Philly. After getting back home, Mallow said to Philly that she is quitting this job because one day his father will know about his affair with Mallow, and he will fire her from the job, or the police will get her, but she promised that she will keep contact with Philly. Before leaving, Philly and Mallow had sex once again, and then the next day, Mallow left. And then Philly went to his school, and now he was so confident, he went to one of his hot teachers. It was the same teacher who advised him at the beginning of the movie. Philly said thanks to his teacher for her advice. And then he asked for a date tonight, and then the teacher accepted his date, and that's how the movie ended. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, I will say, stay safe, stay well, thanks.